preparations going for Green Bay?
Preparations, just getting started. Obviously, came in Monday, got the film watched, got the corrections made. We're able to, get in there, learn some good things of obviously what we can and can't do, of what's going to, help us this season and what's not. But like I said, just getting in here, obviously the Wednesday, about to go through walkthrough and have a good practice.
Coach said y'all had spacing issues in the passing game. Could you address that? And then what are some of the other things y'all want to get done in the passing game?
Yeah, it's just little intricate details of, if you're running a stick flat, your flat can't be the same depth as a stick. So just little things like that. But, as far as the passing game goes, there were some things that worked last week, some things that didn't, other things that fell on me as far as, trying to do too much. A couple of those sacks, whatever it may have been, I take on myself. But as far as the passing game, we know that we're good. We know that we're going to get in here, keep continuing to work, and keep continuing to get the playmakers the ball.
If they're hitting 9-9 to the backs, are you thinking they'll probably try to take that away?
Excuse me, one more time?
You hit 9-9 to the running backs, Bijan and Tyler. They both caught all 9 of their targets. And, generally when teams do that, the other teams will try to take something away.
Yeah, I think, for us, like we said, from the beginning, we know that we have creatures, we have monsters all over the field. It doesn't just have to be a wide receiver or tight end position. For us, fortunate enough, we have it at the back position too. So, just making the defense communicate, making them, figure out who's going to get the ball at what time or where they're going to be at. That's, what we try to do the most is just kind of confuse the defense. So obviously, having players at any position that can catch the ball is going to struggle for a defense.
This was your first go-round in this offense for what was more tailored to you. At what point, what was your level of comfort kind of now having been through it for a full game versus 10 plays in the preseason?
Yeah, my comfort's really well. My comfort's really good with this offense and where we're at. Last week we didn't get in. We never got in the rhythm that we wanted to get in. So, you talk about the balance of the offense, and everyone talks about, they ran the ball so many times, only threw the ball this many times. Again, at the end of the day, whatever is going to help us win, that's what we're going to do. I've told you guys multiple times, I'm not a stat person, so I don't care, how many times I throw the ball or whatever. I just want to win at the end of the day. But, we just want to be able to get in a good rhythm. And I think that's one thing that we're going to work, obviously, throughout this week and going into the game, is just being able to get in a better rhythm, get out there, obviously no 3 and outs, get out there and just get one first drive to just get it going.
You sat for 3/4 of the season. Jordan Love essentially sat for years.
3/4 of the contract.
Yeah. Can you understand maybe what that was like for him, and did you think about that at all?
No, I can't understand what it's like to sit for 3 years and grab a couple of snaps. So no, I can't speak on my personal experience for that. I can, like I said, speak on Sim for about 14 games, and before that, played a lot of snaps. So that's something that I can't speak on, is sitting for that vast majority of the period of time. And still props to him because he's still coming in every single day as a backup, having to know the exact game plan inside and out. For in his case, if Aaron were to go down or whatever it may have been, for him to step up and, make a seamless transition into it. And I know Jordan's done a great job of obviously, grabbing control of the locker room and leading those guys up there and being able to step in with, once Aaron went to New York and kind of, run a seamless offense there.
How do you get into a rhythm practice getting into a rhythm on offense? It's able to translate into a game. What do you do?
Yeah, it's tough because, we go out there and we do 5-6 play drives is usually what most teams do on their practices. And so you just want to, keep all those plays that you have moving forward. You never want to see a negative play happen, whether it's a pick or just a tackle for loss, whatever it may be. But when that does happen, okay, what's the next play? We do get a tackle for loss. We do get a ball batted down. Something doesn't happen our way. How is that next play going to end up where we keep the ball moving forward?
There's been a lot of talk, I guess, just about getting the guys in shape. They think the first 4 games could be the most, the hardest. So for you, where do you feel like you are, and how long does it kind of take you to feel like you're fully in game shape? Because a lot of you don't play the preseason games.
Yeah. Like for me, it's obviously different than, a wide receiver or whatever it may be, who has to run, so many yards every single game. But for me, I felt like my off-season preparation and everything that we done, in the off-season and with Coach Stahl and everything in the weight room, and after practice that you guys see that, our team is one of the better conditioned teams out there. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves on is the finish and the effort that we have. And that goes back to just making sure that we're conditioned. So, when you talk about the practice, obviously everything's full speed. We get into, no huddle situations. And, we end the practice with 2-minute no huddle. So those are the things where we like to go to not only condition our bodies, but to condition our minds as well, so that when our bodies are tired, our mind can still work.
And as just a human being and as a quarterback, I'm sure you're watching Monday Night Football. Just what was your reaction when you saw Aaron and, of course, now what's going on with him not playing?
Yeah, obviously, that's tough is, you talk about just the quarterbacks, but then you talk about kind of the bigger severity of it in the game of football. And, Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys who's been in the league for a long time. And you talk about, star quarterbacks. That's one of those things that, the 7-8-year-old kids, that's one of the first names that's going to come out of their mouth is Aaron Rodgers. So obviously, to lose a guy like him, that's obviously tough. But, the Jets found a way to get it done. But, yeah, it's obviously tough to see him go out the way it happened.
I know you said you're not a stat guy, but how does your relationship with Drake, you guys coming in at the same time and being so tight, how does that help him in your relationship to be, hey man, when you're doubled, it's hard, or how does that help him understand, the lack of receptions last game?
Yeah, I think, anyone will tell you, obviously, you want the big plays, you want the ball, obviously. And like I've told you guys before, that's why I play this position is because I know every single play the ball's going to touch my hands at least once. So I know I would definitely struggle if I play wide receiver out there and, it happens like that. But no, me and Drake have grown a great relationship for me to be able to tell him like, hey, I'm going to find you the ball's going to get you, don't worry about it. And then, just how the culture and everything that we've built and created here of, like I said before, it doesn't matter, how we win. As long as we get the win, everyone's going to be excited to come Monday.
What's that balance for you of maybe when a guy like Drake is only up one target or hits only has a couple, granted only 18 passes, but what's that balance of wanting to force something to them versus having to maybe not because it's double coverage?
Yeah, I think that all goes into the rhythm and the timing of the game and how the game's playing out. Obviously, there are some situations where you can and can't force things, but then also if we're running and it's going good, just keep it staying that way. Other than that, we might try something design-wise or whatever just to get them the ball, just to get them touches and get them the feel. But I think that's where you get in trouble as a quarterback is obviously trying to force things, trying to create things or make things happen that aren't there.
The throw to Pitt, the deep throw to Pitts, was that in some ways some of that too, of kind of because it was in tight coverage? Was that a force in some ways in your eyes? Or? No,
it wasn't a force. And you talk to a lot of quarterbacks in this league, and, especially when you get one-on-ones, they played a middle field close safety. It was a 3-level read for us. We have Kyle on the deep. Drake was coming across. We have our back out into the flat. They ended up running a manish coverage, so everyone's man. That guy's back's turned. I got, a 6'7" on 6'1". That's a win matchup all day. So we're going to go ahead and be able to go take that. How's it going, Josh? You good? Yeah, you good.
How are you?
Good, how are you? No, you're good. But no, those are the shots that we practice, those shots that we take and that we're comfortable with, especially in a one-on-one matchup.
I'm a person to remember what you were saying. I would have lost my
We were talking to Jessie Bates after the game, and he made the comment that you guys are locker mates or something like that, and something that he says to you often is about managing the game. How much of an asset is someone like Jessie Bates to you kind of even in the moments of practice or in a game, even understanding that he's someone that causes issues for quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's huge, and I think you look at it, and I didn't even know this obviously coming in, whatever, but where the quarterbacks sit, coming off the field, that's actually where the safeties sit too. So every time coming off the field, Jesse's one of the first people I see coming off the field or whatever. We kind of, give a quick exchange to let each other know, whatever. But in the locker room, I got Jesse to my left, CP to the left of Jesse, I got Jonnu to my right, and Kyle to the right of Jonnu. So, those just having that group of guys right there, have really helped me just, they taught me a lot. A lot of those guys have obviously been in the league other than Kyle for 3 years. But, those guys have been in the league for a long time. I've seen a lot of balls. So, whenever I can take information from guys like them, from guys like Calais, Grady, whoever it may be who's been in this league for a while, I'm going to take it.
Is patience something that comes naturally to you, or do you have to work at it?
You sound like my wife. There's a fine line. I feel like, you gotta work on it a lot too. And I think going back to what Mike said, it's also about not forcing it as well. Sometimes you might see something that you might think is open, but it's whether or not do you want to force it or not. Or do you have the patience to, hey, let it develop and see what else comes open. So, I think there's a fine balance between that of working it and just kind of, naturally felt. But for me, I feel like I've done a good job of just, kind of creating patience and just making things come open.
Do you think y'all's system, because it's run heavy, or maybe that's the wrong description, requires more patience, that you really get that running this system, you've got to be more patient than some others?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can only speak from this system and which I've played in. But there are a lot of things where, yeah, we do let, things develop, and you got to see how the backers drop or, what the safety does on the route. Does he drive it? Does he cut it? So, yeah, there are a lot of things. And obviously, fortunate enough, we have a great O-line to be able to, hold up and give me that time to kind of see everything and have the patience back there.
Were you able to mentally slow things down back there, or because it was the first game, did it take a while?
Like I said, and like I told you guys last Wednesday, my preparation, I felt like was where I needed to be. And, I feel like, they didn't throw too many crazy things at us that we weren't prepared for. So, I felt like I was good on, and, being able to sit back there and see everything. But we know that, as the weeks go on, defense are going to try to throw different things at you. So you have to be prepared for everything.
Anything else?
In your experience playing football, do you think there are guys who have a knack for the end zone, who near the goal line, whatever it is, have it?
Yeah, I would say that, it's a majority of the guys who play offense in this league. Obviously, you got here for a reason. But, a lot of these guys in the league, especially once you get the balls in their hand, they're going to go try to find that end zone. So, I have full trust in every single one of the guys in that locker room on the offensive side of the ball that once they get the ball in their hands, their end goal is to score.
A lot of first-round draft picks on that defense over there. Which ones are jumping out on the film from last week?
Yeah, obviously, Jair is the number one guy you look at in the DB room. He's a physical player. Likes to play press. When he plays off, he's a little bit tighter in that off alignment. And then you got guys up front like Preston Smith, Sean Gary, obviously big up front. And then obviously guys like Campbell and Walker, big in the linebacker room, see ball, hit ball. And so, they got a good defense. They're strong up front. Won't really win with speed, but will win with power. So it's going to be a great competition for not only the guys up front, but, myself as well as managing the backers.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting Okudah back, does that, obviously changes things from a human level, but does it change much of what you guys might be able to do?
Well, anytime you get a good football player like Okudah back, it helps you out. Our guys have been out there working, doing a good job, and, when he went down, everybody else stepped up. So that means that we expect the level of Okudah to step up when he get back out there, because those guys, they know that they hold each other accountable. So when you get out there, it's time to go to work.
How have you spent much time with him over the last couple of weeks, kind of as he's been pre-having and just kind of working through some of the beginning machinations of getting back?
Yeah, well, the trainers, they take care of the physical part, and I've been doing the mental part. Every morning we get together, we go over game plan, we do this. He tells me what he sees from film, and he did a whole deal on Detroit. And now I expect for you to keep doing the same thing on Green Bay. Again, it's week in and week out, a little bit quicker turnaround, but you got to keep doing the same thing because that's what good football players do.
Obviously, Jessie Bates had a huge game on Sunday, but when it comes to who he is for this team, outside of the 2 interceptions, outside of the forced fumble, outside of being named Defensive Player of the Week for the NFC, what are some things that Jessie Bates provides for y'all that doesn't ever show up on a stat sheet?
Well, the first thing is get an example. Tuesday, had the guys come over at 10 o'clock. No coaches in there, just him watching film with the DBs, linebackers. Hey, look, we need to get ahead on Green Bay. We know it's an off day, and that's fine. But the good football players understand that if you start on Wednesday, you're behind in the NFL. So he provides stuff like that. He talks to the guys when we're not there. I know he's going to do some things after practice that they do. This is your own time. So again, you have to prepare like you prepare. And that's what he's getting the guys to understand. You have to spend a little bit more time here. And I know it's traffic, and I know this, so let traffic die down, but give me 30 minutes here and now. You'll get an extra benefit on Sunday.
Is this week weird for you at all, considering where you were last year?
No, not really. It's the NFL. You know, I got my older kids coming into town and going against my younger kids. That's really what it is.
What was your first reaction when you saw that, like, the team signed Okudah? I mean, I know you talk about what he brings, but just how great is it to have him and AJ?
Yeah, well, you know, when you look at it from a stat-wise and you say, hey, you got the number 3 draft pick in the NFL draft. So you have to have some athletic ability. You got to have great talent to get picked that high. And he has all those things, you know, barring the injuries that he's had. You know, again, great spirits, great athlete, great football player. Now we just got to get you homed in on getting on the football field and then playing at the level we expect. And the good thing is he expects the same thing. So it's not like he's not expecting to be good. He wants to be good. It's just that when he gets back out there, we know that, you know, we got to make sure we take our time with him and do certain things. But, you know, he's going to give us everything he got, and I love the mental part where he's at right now.
How do you game plan when you're going against, I mean, Jordan Love isn't a rookie, but he kind of is a rookie because it's his first year. So how do you game plan for Jordan, who's been able to study behind Rodgers and is now really getting his first start as a starter?
You know, I was over there for 3 years, so I got a chance to watch him mature and grow. And like you said, he's really not a rookie in years. So he's actually way above that. You know, you watch him in practice and he goes through the reads. He understands what he's supposed to do. He gets rid of the football. So, you know, you said when I watched the Chicago game, I wasn't surprised that he was getting rid of the football out of his hands because he's already been doing it for 3 years. So this is nothing new. The biggest thing is that, you know, when you get ready to go against him, what can we do to make him hold a little bit so the rush can get there? Do things like that. And that'll kind of help our team going against a guy that I kind of got a little insight on.
About their weapons around them, you know, everybody knows the running backs, but what about Musgrave and Romeo in the second year there? What do they have around Jordan Love?
Well, you know, if you look at them the last couple of years, they've drafted like 2 years ago, they drafted 3 receivers, and they're all there. They're all young. They're all different, but they can do different things. And then I think they went and drafted another three this year. So when you look at their roster, they got 6 guys, and all of them 2 years or younger. But they all athletic. You know, you look at these guys, and they make plays at different positions. And that's the good thing about what they've done there. They're really good in the draft. They do a great job in the draft, and they keep guys on their team, and then you mature there. So, you know, you get an idea of what they're going to do, and they're using all their guys. So when one guy didn't play last week, the other 5 stepped up. So that's what they expect, and I know that they've been doing that in their organization for years.
Considering you might have a reasonable book and read on Watson and Dobbs, like, does that help you, like, in some ways for you, or is that kind of overplayed?
If I was out there playing, it would. But, you know, again, the biggest thing is that, you know, those guys are good football players. You know, the players got to make plays. Those are guys that they're going to be playing. I can't do anything about it. You know, I can give them information, but they still got to go execute on, you know, today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday they got to execute, you know, and do the things that we asked them to do, and they've done that the first week.
Do you joke about it if you're out there playing, obviously a hell of a career yourself. Like, do you still think that in those terms sometimes? Like, you know, if I was still playing.
No, not really. You know, what I do is when I break down film like that, and then I give it to the players. So, again, your brain goes through what would you do when you're breaking down film, and then you're like, okay, here's what you can physically do, so this is what we're going to get you to do. So I always coach each guy individually. You know, there's no right or wrong. You just got to figure out what guys are good at and let them go do it.
I know he hasn't even really practiced yet, but are you optimistic that Okudah could play this Sunday, like make a season debut?
Well, if that's up to Coach Smith and everybody that's above me, hey, I'm open for it.
And I know only one game's been played, but have you been able to kind of just see the benefits for Grady, having guys like Calais out there and then just having that depth and veteran experience out there?
Yeah, I mean, to me, anytime you get older guys, veteran guys that understand that all the pressure's not on you, now the pressure kind of shifts a little bit. So it's like, okay, we expect for Calais to do this. We expect for other guys to do this. Now it's not just focused on Grady, because if you do, now Calais have a big game, somebody else have a big game, and that's what good football teams do. You know, if you just one-dimensional, it's going to be hard to win in the NFL. You know, they can turn the protection to you, and you know you can't win, so everybody else, you know, not doing anything. So we're trying to take advantage of that, and if we find teams that do that, we got to let the other guys step up.
So it's fair to say then that if the hope is he won't be double teamed as much, and then hopefully he can get after the quarterback more.
Most definitely, and that'll be great for the DBs.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Bryce Young completed a pass beyond 15 yards on Sunday. I think he had a couple of 14, but nothing over 15. For this group, this defense, how much of that measurable is kind of a goal of something y'all want to have versus, I guess, in game just being happy that it didn't happen? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You know, one of the things that we try to do is just, you know, eliminate explosive plays. And when you take a look at the NFL, explosive plays tend to end up being losses for you if you give up too many. So we're real conscious of that as defensive backs, you know, defense, and understanding that, hey, look, if you cut down the explosive plays and make the team drive the long haul, you got better chances of making plays other than one big shot, and then they all of a sudden on the 50, the next shot they're on the 20, where it's already 3 points. So little things like that, we try to make the team go the long haul. And if you can go 14, 15 plays, you did a good job. So there's little things that we're conscious of, not so much how far they throw the ball down the field.
Coming from the Packers, I mean, is there anything, obviously you don't reveal what specifically, but like, how is it coming from a team, obviously there's more turnover, it's not the same team as last year, the couple of years you were there, but like, is there anything you can take away from that? I mean, like, is there any kind of thing that you can use to your advantage?
Like I said, there's a lot of things you can use to advantage because the coaching staff is still there. So, you know, just do what we got to do on the football field, get the guys to go out there and practice. And there's some little things that I think that I can provide this week, and hopefully it shows up in our favor on Sunday.
Since you were with the Packers, just what was your reaction when you saw Rodgers go down for the Jets?
It was kind of tough. I think anytime you see a good football player that put in a lot of time, you know, being there for 3 years, he works. You know, really works hard, does a good job, and then the hopes of the Jets getting a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, you know, and then when the guy goes down like this, it's kind of tough as an ex-player because you don't want to see guys get injured that way. You know, again, in any form of football, you want them to, hey, look, I retired, I did this, I did that. And, you know, now I think what he provided for those guys is hope. That's the biggest thing.
Coach, I know you didn't have Desmond Campbell, but you saw him come over and kind of establish himself up there after being here. What did you see from Campbell as he, continued his career in Green Bay?
Really good football player, athletic, can go from sideline to sideline, physical, can run. You know, he does a lot of stuff for him on defense. And, I mean, a good guy, you know, great guy in the meeting. He's always extra. You know, even after practice, they was always in the meeting room. So when you got good football players, that's the difference. Good football players make good football teams, and that's the good thing about it.
Anything else?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
NFC Defensive Player of the Week, just what does that mean to you after last week's performance?
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to represent, you know, the Falcons in the city of Atlanta, my family. You know, it's easy to do it for 1 week. I just got to be consistent, you know, continue to do that and play at a high level, not just for myself, but for this team.
And what do you think, Coach said y'all, some things y'all want to work on to get better after that? What are some things y'all trying to do to get ready for the Packers?
Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know, obviously you want to start a little faster. There's a lot of things that you can take from the tape and get better at, but it's a new week, you know, so we're going to have to continue to learn the game plan, you know, brand new week and reset and go 1-0 for the week.
How's preparations going for the Packers?
It's going good. It's going real good. I feel that, we came off a good week, but now we got to refocus. And, we've been, we just got done with practice. We had a good practice. We understand that we have to, get back in our groove, our routine, our regiment to get right. But I think it's going pretty good right now and how we're starting.
As far as it goes emotionally, how was it to get that first one under your belt, first game?
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome, man. It was such a blessing to just be out there, play a full game, because I haven't played a full game like that since November. So it was good to go out there and be with my teammates and really show what I can do and really show what we've been all working on. But I just feel like I was comfortable out there, and now that I got the full game under my belt, now I want to get to another one. But I had so much fun, and I mean, I can't wait for the Packers.
When you went back and watched and kind of took back what you had done was there something that stood out to you or surprised you that maybe you weren't expecting? Or
no, nothing I wasn't expecting. I'm just glad that, you know, the fans came out, you know, feeling that energy. You know, I haven't felt that in a long time. So, you know, when a big play would happen and everybody would get riled up and all the fans would get, you know, go crazy, like that really is a boost that I've been missing. But then now that we went out there and even after, you know, Jesse's picks, those sacks, those big plays that were happening during the game and just feeling the crowd, like it was a good time to be a part of that. And, you know, I hope we keep that going so everybody, you know, continues to have the same energy.
How did you feel about your usage? Because you literally were everywhere, except for quarterback.
Yeah. I felt great about it. You know, I know that, you know, they got a plan for me, and I gotta follow that plan the right way. And what Coach Smith and, you know, Coach Petrie and Coach Rags have for me. So, you know, whatever they have me do, wherever they line me up, I'm gonna give 100%, and I'm gonna, you know, try to do my best to use the gifts that I've been given, you know, by God, and you know, just have fun out there. But I know I'll line up in a lot of spots, and I know that, you know, wherever I'm at, I have to be, you know, 100%, you know, for my teammates, and so they can count on me to do, you know, something great with the ball.
Art had said on Sunday that really it's kind of, there's so much more that he still thinks they can do with you.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, has that been explained to you? Do you have an idea? Or?
I mean, we do a lot of different things. I mean, not just me, but everybody on this offense, and you know how they want to use us skill players. You know, they use us to, you know, create mismatches and create matchups in space, and they want to do everything as much as possible to get us in space. So when we get the ball in our hand, then we can make that exciting play and try to, you know, score a touchdown. Because I think all of our mindset is, you know, we want to obviously get in the end zone after every single drive. So he wants to come up with so many different, you know, concepts and different things that we can do to, you know, confuse the defense in order for us to get a winning drive. So I think that's what he means. But like I said, you know, he does he wants to do a lot of different things to, you know, get us in space and confuse the defense, you know, throughout the whole game.
In the preseason, you I think only played in one series or maybe a little bit more, but barely a quarter. So
yeah.
What was the biggest difference from you from college to NFL in your first starts?
Yeah. I think the biggest difference was like just playing, you know, a lot of different positions, and you know, just kind of getting myself in like supreme shape. And because in college, like it was just running back. I'll play receiver here and there, but then now like doing a lot of different things to create for other players and to try to create for, you know, for Desmond to find the open look. That's probably the only change that I have from college to NFL.
So do you feel like you have to do more conditioning on your own, because it's like you're not going full go in practice and then all of a sudden you're right into it in a game?
Well, you know how Coach Smith, you know, does his practices. You know, I do got to go. We got to go full go in practice. You know, just being able to finish in practice and, you know, not taking a play off, because it's easy to get, you know, lackadaisical in practice, or it's easy to relax. But you know, me, the running backs, I mean, the whole offense, whole defense, we just kind of train ourselves to push to exhaustion pretty much in practice, because obviously when we get to the game, you know, we have a high standard, and we gotta keep on that high standard, you know, when we get out there on that field.
What can you say just about Jessie Bates' performance in getting the NFC Defensive Player?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, honestly, because, you know, every day in practice, you know, when I go up against Jessie and when the offense goes up against Jessie, I mean, that dude is everywhere. He's always around the ball. If he's not around the ball, he's pretty close to it. So, you know, I knew that obviously Jessie's, you know, top safety in the league, but I think it's just how he works is why, you know, he got what he deserved, I mean, this week. And, I mean, those two picks, that forced, I mean, all of that just didn't surprise me because he doesn't in practice. So, I mean, and like I've been saying, when we do it in practice, I mean, that we gotta translate it to the game. So I think it was pretty awesome to see, you know, Jessie perform that way. I can't wait to see him against the Packers, too.
The offensive line is built to be a run-first offense.
Yeah.
Your first look outside of just the one series in the preseason, getting to work with them, what was kind of your assessment of running behind them?
I mean, those dudes are some monsters, man. My first practice, I always tell them, like, my first practice we did it outside zone, and when I got the ball, I was reading it, and the hole was like, it was huge, and I kind of looked back to see if that was real, but I mean it was, but they just blocked so hard. And those guys never take a play off either. I congratulate those guys every single day. I'm just happy that they're in front of me, and that I get to try to make them look good as much as I can. Because all they do is just strain every play, and they have fun doing it. They don't care who's in the way. They don't care if you're the best defensive line. They don't care who you are. I mean, they're gonna give everything that they got every play, and it gets me excited because I'm trying to do the exact same thing.
We've seen you get used in so many ways, but your running style, how do you think it matches up with kind of what this offensive line is capable of doing?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want to set your offensive lineman up for the best look possible, and I think that if you can get defenders confused and just use movements that they're not used to, use your shoulders, use your eyes to displace them and make it easier for the offensive lineman, it makes it that much easier for their job. So I think that if you're a guy that can create, that can set up the blocks for them instead of them blocking, and then you got to kind of read it but actually set it up for them, I think it'll help them out so much more, and that's why I love blocking or running behind them.
How much Texas talk did you get with the Bama guys this week?
Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done. I know the game was on Saturday, but that was a big win for us, and I'm just so excited that it happened. And I mean, all the Bama guys, Huh?
What have you been saying?
Every time I walk past them, I'm hook them, every time. Or I'm you like that? Are you mad? But it's all fun and games. Me and DeMarco joke about it all the time, and I still try to just get in his head a little bit about it. But it was a huge moment for the university, and I'm just super excited that it happened.
Well, Jessie Bates got the Defensive Player of the Week. You pretty much called that. Just what was your reaction to him getting it?
Yeah, I mean, I would have been shocked if he didn't get it. Somebody had to do something ridiculous. There's some other good players out there making plays. I mean, the guy from the Jets, having 3 interceptions. If he was in the NFC, he might have took it because 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. It's kind of the same thing, but people give the interception a little more love. But somebody had to do something crazy. Jesse was very deserving. He earned it. He came out there and really kind of set the tone for the whole season. And now the challenge is at what level can you do it again? We don't expect 3 interceptions every game. That just is impossible. But his impact on the game, is going to have to be that level every time. That's what makes him a great captain. And they tell you if your best players are the leaders of the team, your team's going to be pretty good. And so having the captain be one of the superstars that sets the tone and makes the big plays for us to win ball games, that's cool.
So the bar's been set for him now. We expect that now from Jessie.
Well, I expected it before, but I think now the rest of the world, the rest of Atlanta expects it.
When it comes to getting after Jordan Love, he's not a rookie, but he technically kind of is because it's first time starting. So what's kind of the
It's
key?
a big difference. Big difference from experience. Definitely has a factor, but being a rookie is a way different experience. You go against a guy in his first game, you can do a lot of things to kind of, to mess with him and get him uncomfortable because this is his first time out there versus a guy like Jordan Love who got a chance to sit for a few years against, behind a legend who, understands the game at the highest level, train with him, actually trained with Jordan myself a little bit. And, he was, with Aaron Rodgers as well, doing everything that Aaron was doing. And so he's going to be, light years ahead of, a true rookie. But, he doesn't have the experience, so it's going to take a little time for him to get all of that. But he's definitely a guy that you have to respect as, as one of the guys already.
So you trained with him. What's the secret of getting after him?
I only trained with him a little bit, for a couple of weeks a year usually. He's a good athlete, I'll tell you that, and he's going to, be able to, he's going to try to do things with his legs, extend plays with his legs, and that's going to be a big key for us to kind of, to stop him. We can't let him extend plays, create time to throw the ball or even run. He has all those attributes, so it's going to be a tough challenge, but, we'll be ready for it.
As a veteran in the league, just as a human being, what was it like watching Rodgers go down on Monday night, and just what does that mean for the NFL?
Heartbreaking. Aaron Rodgers is a incredible guy, one of the best football players of all time. A guy that I respect, tremendously. I've played against him quite a bit, and it's always like you got to bring your A game every time you play against him. And I love that. As a football competitor, you love when guys are at their very, very best, and can bring the best out of you. And so I just, it's heartbreaking to see him go down. I don't know what that feels like. I've been very, very blessed throughout my career, and I hope I never get to, experience that. That's in God's hands. But I know that, he has the right mindset, and if he wants to play football again, he'll come back stronger and, I think he's going to come back to being that great player. I think that it's heartbreaking because that team was built and ready to make a big run, and like their coach says that don't put a betray on them yet. They still got a lot of fight left in this football, but that Aaron Rodgers is a big piece of that, and just what he said capable of doing. You definitely don't want to see that. And at the NFL as a whole too. He's one of the biggest names in the NFL. He's a guy that sold sponsorships and moved the needle and it made everybody tune in. And so Hard Knocks, it was great. I tuned in to Hard Knocks because he was on it. And wanted to watch it. So it definitely is heartbreaking. But it's a sad part of our game. But it's a part you have to kind of take and just it is what it is.
His injury, though, brings up that debate again about field versus turf. And Drake was kind of saying there is a little bit of a difference, just that sometimes you might feel the wear and tear if the field isn't kept. Do you, just throughout the years, do you feel a difference between field versus turf? Is there a difference?
Oh, yeah. I like grass. But, it is what it is. Most of my career actually played my home games have always been on grass. This is the first time in my career I've played on turf for home games. And I think that, grass just has a little more give, so you don't really get as many non-contact injuries. But this was a contact injury, too. I don't think that, I think even on grass, maybe his foot slipped out a little bit, and it would have given him some, protection there, with the traction. But you just don't know. It's like you can go down a big rabbit hole of what could have been or should have been if it was different. At the end of the day, I don't think that, this particular thing is going to be the moving needle of why we want grass versus turf. But I do think that it is important to have, I think playing on grass does just, statistically, you see over, the course of the last 10, 20 years that grass is safer, and it's just, and as a player, I just feel better on it. When I play on turf, I get way more sore. When I play on grass, I feel way better after games. So, I think if we can, I would love to have grass, for every game. But.
Is it because of the ground absorbs it more than turf? Is that kind of the theory? I don't know. I've never played on turf.
Well, I think it's just grass kind of gives. Like if you get in a bad situation, you can your foot kind of slips out, so it doesn't get stuck in bad situations. And you really want to get your foot out the ground. Somebody rolls up on you, you got to pick it up. But when it gets stuck in the ground, that's when all the injuries happen. And so, the grass just has a lot more give.
I know you're really close to also getting that career number 100 sack.
Yeah.
Is that in your mind every time you're lining up?
I think it was in my mind a little too much this last game. And I think it got me a little too excited, but it's the first game. First game, everything's at the highest level, and then you kind of start just playing football and everything settles down. So, I know it's going to come eventually. As long as I stay healthy, I'm going to be out there, it's going to come. And so it's just don't press too hard, just play football and let it come to you, and that's kind of my mindset now. But that first game, I think I was chasing a little too much, and,
Special celebration plan?
I plan to do the Dirty Bird. I don't know if that's really a special celebration. I think it's just, being here and being a football fan and kind of the history of this team and the Dirty Bird, and when they made that run, it was special. And so I just, I look forward to bringing that back a little bit. But I do plan to do some stuff, in the community, and outside. And, hopefully once I get it, you'll hear a lot about,
Atlanta has a reputation of away fans taking over the building sometimes, and Packers fans obviously travel. What kind of challenge is that for Falcons fans, and what kind of environment would you like to see on Sunday for you guys?
Well, I hope it's a whole lot more of our fans there than theirs. But it is what it is. We have to earn our right for that to happen. I think as we continue to win ball games and play good football, I think that our fans will show up, and not resell those tickets and let the Green Bay fans or other teams' fans come in here and take over. But at the end of the day, our offensive practice a little silent count they have to, and on defense, hopefully we can still, the fans are in there making a whole lot of noise because we feed. I don't think fans realize how important they are for a defensive lineman. If you can make them have to go on silent count, it makes us get the ball so much faster, which in turn allows for us to make so many more plays. So if you get the place rocking in there, it's going to lead to more plays.
What do you think of the crowds? The crowd had kind of forced a false start in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was huge.
And then you guys sacked Brycing on the next play.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what it takes. When we're rolling and the crowd is going and they have to throw the ball because we're up, and they can barely hear and they have to do silent count. We get to go off that field, get the ball, super fast, and it's just going to lead to a lot more big plays. And it was a sack this time. Might be a sack fumble that leads to a touchdown. Might be a batted ball that leads to an interception that goes to a touchdown. There's just big plays to be had, and it starts with the crowd making a whole lot of noise for us.
How long does it take for you to feel like you're fully game physical shape, because you don't play that much in the preseason and now all of a sudden you're thrusted into game action? I know the first 4 games everyone kind of says is it takes time.
Yeah, I think I mean, 4 games is kind of like where you feel like, okay, like I'm in, like, you know, I'm not getting any better shape. And that first game is kind of like, whew, all right, it's a little, so, okay, this is real, you know, because, like, you know, you can go through preseason, you can go through training camp and everything, but it's hard to have that, you know, where that full, you know, to exhaustion every play. You know, like when the game's on the line and you're trying to make a play to win the game, you're going as hard as you can go for as long as you can go, and you rotate out, rotate back in, and it just, you know, it takes time to get in shape. So I think it usually takes about, you know, week 4 where you should be, you know, kind of the best shape you're going to be in. But, you know, we'll be better this week than we were last. Each week's a little better.
First day back out there in about 5-6 weeks, so it was good to be out there with the guys, for real.
How tough was the recovery period for you? 'Cause I saw you and Frank when you went down, I think it was August 4th.
Man, it was tough. Just obviously just wanted to have a real strong camp and stack days, be out there with the guys. So, you know, being out for a while was tough, and but, you know, the guys held it down, and I'm glad to be back.
When you went down that day, were you concerned? Did you think, oh no, not again? Like, does that go through your head at any point, considering what you've been through the first couple of years?
Yeah, definitely. Just obviously, like, going down, having the car come out, never a good feeling. But, you know, God saw me through, and so I'm just grateful to be out there not too long after it happened.
At what point did you realize it wasn't going to be a super serious situation for you?
So first we went in there to Emory with the whole X-ray, MRI process, just doing the due diligence on it. You know, as the reports came back in, the optimism just continued to grow and grow. And after that, we just made a plan and just had to attack it, and that led to us being here today.
So, like, mentally, how did you breathe a sigh of, like, what goes through your head in kind of that 24, 36 hours?
Just a feeling of real gratitude. Obviously, you know, it could have went worse. So, you know, just when I heard that opportunity to come back, at that point, I just put my mind on attacking every single day at rehab and putting my best foot forward.
You mentioned the guys held it down. What was it like for you watching the defense play in the first game? Just kind of, as I guess a spectator, but watching how well they played. What did you take from that?
It was really exciting. I got a lot of love for the guys in the DB room. So, you know, when I saw them out there making those plays, I felt like I was kind of playing through them, and it just raised my excitement for this defense, for our secondary. It was a really fun moment.
The Packers, well, what are they? I know there's a lot of new faces over there. What do you guys got to be on the lookout for?
We just got to eliminate explosives. We got to play tough football, and we got to tackle. We got to tackle well in space.
Coach Gray said he, you know, tried to get you to study the coats because that was the Panthers. Wanted to make sure you mentally were prepared and for you know, studying Green Bay now. What did you do mentally to kind of stay on top of things?
Just stay engaged in the moment. I never was away from the team, so staying engaged in all the meetings, picking Coach Nielsen's brain, Coach Gray's brain, and even Coach Smith's brain about different things with football. That just helped me to stay engaged, and so coming back out here today, I didn't necessarily feel rusty from a mental aspect.
And they said it was an ankle at first, and then there was a foot on the official injury report. How do we specify the injury?
Foot injury?
Yeah.
At this point, when you went through practice today, are you dealing with any pain still, or are you pretty much pain-free?
I would say just more so working back into the swing of things. You know, when you're off for that long, you want to just knock off the rust.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would describe it as dealing with right now. Hey, chill out, AJ. Chill out.
How long does that normally take for you to feel like you're back in the swing of things?
I mean, when you come back, it's a ramp-up period, which is expected. But I would say it's kind of like a feeling thing. When you play a position like defensive back, it's a feel thing. When everything feels good, I think you get back into it pretty quickly.
How much did you feel you were able to actually do today?
So today I did individual. I did jog through. That was the plan that we set at the beginning of the week. So, you know, our big thing was just sticking to the plan and not getting too far ahead of ourselves, no matter how good I felt.
Do you
feel like Sunday's a possibility, or is that something that you kind of want to wait and maybe wait a week and be conservative with? Like, how do you approach that?
Honestly, when we speaking to the training staff beginning of the week, the plan was really not to necessarily think about Sunday, but just take it one day at a time. And if we get to Sunday, we get to Sunday. If we don't, we don't. But like I said, we just didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
How do we just pulled up? So sorry. How are you feeling physically, and is the goal for you to play this Sunday to make your debut for the Falcons?
Like I was telling Mike, we're just taking it one day at a time. We set a plan at the end of the week just to we're gonna attack Wednesday, see how Wednesday goes, and then we're gonna get together, talk about that, and then make a plan for Thursday. So right now, that's kind of our process at this part and everything.